During the 2022 season, the lack of weapons for the Dallas Cowboys was evident. That's why the team made it a priority to go and trade for a high-end number 2 wide receiver this offseason. Ceedee Lamb was pretty much a one-man show for a good portion of 2022. A lot of the Cowboys' woes in the receiving core came from relying on minimum free agents like James Washington and third-round pick out of South Alabama, Jalen Tolbert. Neither of these guys were expected to do much from insiders and fans, but it would have been nice to see them contribute at least a little bit to the Cowboys' offense. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Jalen Tolbert, the top 100 pick that couldn't find his way on the field last season. Could the Cowboys give up on him just a year after taking him so high in the draft? Let's find out. With Tolbert coming out of South Alabama, we knew there would need to be an adjustment to the NFL game. Although he was dominant in his time in college, in both 2020 and 2021, Tolbert eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark. He recorded 64 catches with 8 touchdowns in 2020 and 82 catches with 8 touchdowns in 2021. He was really dominant on a team that lacked playmakers around him, hence why the Cowboys felt he could be a contributor. But that never really happened. He fell completely out of favor with the coaching staff. He missed some big opportunities in the preseason, and that seemed to have ruined his chances of being a factor. According to some sources around the Cowboys, some inside the organization felt that he wasn't ready for the pro game and needed some refinement. And that's fine. A team should never rely on a third-round pick to come in and be an instant contributor. That's not what the draft is for. But it does look bad when the Cowboys started an undrafted free agent wide receiver in week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, that's correct. Tolbert, a third-round pick, was beaten out by an undrafted guy in Dennis Houston for the Cowboys' starting spot in week 1. A detriment to Tolbert and to how weak the Cowboys' wide receiver room had gotten. By the end of the 2022 season, Tolbert had only 2 catches on 3 targets for 12 yards. One of those catches came in the Vikings game with the Cowboys leading by 1 million with their backups in. I know he was a third-round pick, but that is awful production. So what can we expect from him this time around? Is it even right to expect anything from him in 2023? The honest answer is, I don't really know. But I do know he's going to be fighting for a roster spot when training camp rolls around, because the Cowboys wide receiver room just got really crowded and competitive with the addition of Brandin Cooks. The Cowboys typically keep 6 wide receivers on the roster, so let's do some math. We know that Ceedee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Brandin Cooks are safe. That's your top 3. Assuming that the Cowboys liked Turpin returning punts and kickoffs, he is safe as well. That leaves 2 spots open for the taking, with about 8 guys fighting for those last 2. Guys like Simi Fehoko, Jalen Tolbert, Dennis Houston, Dontario Drummond, Antonio Callaway, who I personally like a lot and is a veteran guy, Jalen Cropper, and then Jalen Brooks. All of these guys are going to be making a push for wide receiver 4 and wide receiver 5. So that really doesn't leave much room for Tolbert, even though he was a top 100 pick in 2022. He can't play special teams, which hurts his value even more, and from what we've seen, he just hasn't been up to the speed of the NFL game. Before we continue, if you could, please head down there and hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 20,000 subscribers. If you did, it would mean a lot. I found it interesting in a Blogging the Boys article that they had Jalen Tolbert missing the final 53-man roster, with Callaway and Jalen Cropper sneaking in to round out the top 6. I think this article is a perfect example of how Cowboys fans feel about Tolbert right now. He's just kind of the forgotten guy that can get beat out by an undrafted free agent this year in camp. He's going to really have to ball out in the preseason if he wants to make this team. And he's part of one of the more intriguing camp battles we're going to see in August. And personally, I can't wait for it. So, are your hopes high for Jalen Tolbert in 2023? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Bye.